Lowco sports fans. I'm back. I'm back. It's been too long. It's been months now that I think about it. Actually, it's really been since the end of May since we did a show. So just about a month and a half since we last did a Mad Max Local recap. So let me just say this: welcome into the Mad Max Local recap. We have a few things to talk about. It has been a while since we've done this show, so I'm more than happy to be back on and talking sports with you. And you'll probably get a lot more of this in about a month or so, as believe it or not, high school sports is going to be back in just over a month. So we'll probably get started on that stuff early, and start doing our shows again, including the Loco Sports Lowdown. But until then, welcome in. Let me get the banner up here so we could get you all caught up on what's going on, not just in the Lowcountry, but around the country and the world for that matter. As you can see, World Cup down on there, quarterfinal scores. There's quite a few things to talk about. Obviously, the World Cup is still going on. Semifinals start this next week, specifically on Tuesday, with France and Spain going at it on Tuesday, and then Argentina and England going at it on Wednesday. And we'll get to that later in the show. Major League Baseball, they are nearing the halfway point of the season. If they're not already there, technically we can consider the All-Star break as the halfway mark of the season, which is technically already underway. Got started on Friday, but the real stuff will get started on Monday, of course, with the Home Run Derby for the first time, I think, unless they did it last year. But the Home Run Derby will be on Netflix this year. And, of course, the All-Star Game will take place Tuesday night. So a lot of stuff going on, including the World Cup and the All-Star Game on Tuesday. And that All-Star Game on Tuesday will be on Fox if you want to watch it. We'll get to some MLB stuff in a second. I do want to talk some Atlanta Braves, and being that I've been gone for a month, for those of you who are Braves fans, know exactly what's been going on with the Atlanta Braves, and we'll get to that in later on in this show. But I want to start off with the fact that, like I mentioned, we are just over a month away from high school sports ramping up again, including football. Of course, one of the things we like to do before the season gets started is, of course, with our good partners in crime, the WHHI news team. WHHI will be hosting a football media day for all the local TV stations and journalism companies to interview and get an idea of what the upcoming season could potentially look like for football here in the Lowco area. That will be on July 28th, so not far from now. July 28th at the Hilton Head Cadillac dealership from 10 to 3 on July 28th. Is that? I think that is it is. It's a Tuesday. Tuesday morning into the afternoon. We're going to be trying to get all of some of these area teams, including the Hilton Head and Bluffton teams, a few of the Beaufort teams, hopefully. Definitely the Hardyville teams and Jasper County area teams, and see if we can get some Hampton County players to come and interview with us. So it's going to be a great day coming up on July 28th. But I want to talk about something that came up on the group chat, and we're a month out, and my thoughts on the upcoming season could change. But I want to give you my idea of what I see happening for all the regions, all the divisions that we have in this area for both South Carolina High School League and, of course, the South Carolina Independent School Association. So while we're working on that, I want to get it up. But since we're talking about it, one of the things that did take place over the last week and a half or so, the Citadel had their big football camp where a lot of the high schools come out and train and compete in 7v7s, and two teams that were at the Citadel for that was Hilton Head and Bluffton. Now, they did play each other in 7-on-7s. Hilton Head won 27-7. Now, let me explain why that's both significant and insignificant at the same time. It's significant because this seems to be a habit with Bluffton and Hilton Head. And the last couple of years, Hilton Head's had Bluffton's number. Um, and the funniest thing is last season, of course, I was at the Bluffton Hilton Head game where, Hilton Head took down Bluffton pretty well, especially against the Bluffton team with two four-star wide receivers on their team who are now both going to be at North Carolina in just over a year from now. Both of these players are going to be playing at North Carolina, and Carnell Warren and Amari Patterson, who, by the way, congratulations to Amari Patterson for committing to play football at the University of North Carolina. Now, I will say this, that could change, but, if it means he gets to spend time with his buddy and former teammate Carnell Warren, and they get to play together at North Carolina, in my thoughts, I don't expect him to decommit and go somewhere else anytime soon. So congratulations to Mari Patterson, the biggest recruit in our area over the last few years, getting some really big offers from multiple schools across the SEC and the ACC, including Georgia, South Carolina, some big schools that have been looking at Amari and saying, yeah, this kid might be something special. And he ends up deciding to commit to the University of North Carolina, which is a big deal. So congratulations to Amari Patterson. Anyway, speaking of Amari Patterson, one of the things that I think a lot of teams look at is how players perform during 7-on-7s. Now, what makes 7-on-7s interesting is it is more so one-on-one coverage between two players, the defender and the offender, and the whoever's on offense. And one of the things that Amari Patterson thrives in is one-on-one. And I saw it last year, and he's really good in one-on-one situations. And it's why he thrives a lot in 7-on-7 scrimmages during the summer years. And it's why a lot of schools started looking at him because of what he could do, not just as a player in one-on-one coverage, but someone who can create the position where defenders ends up in a one-on-one coverage with Amari Patterson. But this past week and a half or so, Hilton had played Bluffton in 7-on-7s at the Citadel up in Charleston, and Hilton had destroyed Bluffton 27-7, and it was an interesting score, and for two reasons. Hilton Head is one of those teams where you forget the fact that they have a lot of players returning, and they also are, a lot of players returning with a lot of experience. Most of these players that are returning already have at least 2 seasons of starting experience under their belt. And let's remind everyone, this Hilton Head team, made it to the lower state semifinals last year and came 3 points short of making the lower state finals and potentially a spot in the state championship game for the 4A level. It didn't happen. Obviously, Hilton Head came up just short against what was a very solid Great Collegiate team. But the thing that people forgot was they lost a few seniors, but what they have returning is quite special. And their upcoming schedule is going to be very interesting, which is what I'm currently trying to get up right now. See if I can get it up for you. Let's see if it's... The one thing I hate is Max Preps doesn't have a lot of these schedules up yet. They don't have their full schedule up, if I'm looking at this correctly. They got some interesting teams on this non-region schedule, but I don't think it's all of them. I'm going to check something here. See if it's on their actual website. No, not yet. This is the downside of trying to see what the football schedules are. Maybe it's on. No. Okay, well, the current schedule up on Max Preps. I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but some pretty interesting teams to go up against to start off their year. They play at Bamberg Earhart, which Bamberg's usually a very solid football program, so that's going to be very interesting. Then they're at home against Rock Hill. Now, Rock Hill is known as football haven. The amount of NFL talent that has come out of the Rock Hill area is unbelievable. And so usually these Rock Hill teams are pretty solid. And so a home game against Rock Hill is going to be very interesting to see. Then they're on the road at Christchurch. And if I'm remembering correctly, Christchurch is the Greenville area. Yes, it is. So they're taking an interesting trip up to Greenville for a non-region game. Then they're at home against Camden, which is, of course, out of Camden, South Carolina. So they have quite the interesting schedule. And then they start off their season against Bluffton, which they don't have their full schedule on here because one of the teams missing from their region, it will be Bluffton, Cotton County, Beaufort, May River, which is not on their schedule yet. Yeah, they don't have their full schedule here. So let me see if I can. Yeah, there's teams missing on this schedule. May River's not on their schedule according to Max Preps, which is not true. May River's a region opponent. And neither is, if I'm remembering correctly, Lucy Beckham's back in the region this year. So let me see if I can find this high school schedule. We'll do it at the break. I'll see if I can find the schedule as we look up through it, and then we'll move on to our next subject. Bluffton's schedule is pretty interesting as well. I do know Bluffton's playing two teams from Florida, the Jacksonville area, actually, and they will be playing a game down in Jacksonville this year. So very interesting to see. Bluffton's going to be crossing two state lines to go play go play some football this year. Very interesting. It's very intriguing. And now it's only a 3-hour trip, if that, but it's very interesting to see Bluffton's schedule this year. They have 2 games against teams from Florida. They have, I believe, 1 or 2 games against Georgia teams. So it's very interesting. And if I'm remembering correctly, I don't think they have a game against a South Carolina opponent in the non-region part of their schedule. But let me check and see if their schedule's up here. Let's see. Do they have a schedule up? Yeah, not a full schedule. Yeah, I don't think they have the full schedules up. Now, I'll check and see on Facebook. Yeah, it's very weird. I hate using Max Preps for schedules, especially before the season, because they just don't have the actual schedule up. They have some of the games, but not all of them. This is tough to find these schedules. It is frustrating. Nope, that's the wrong year. Yeah, I can't find it. Maybe it's on there. Yeah, no, it's not on their Facebook page. All right, well, I'll keep searching for that schedule, and we'll eventually we'll be sharing those schedules on the Loco Sports Lowdown at some point within the next month. But um, both teams of Hilton Head and Bluffton have some interesting non-region schedules this year, and Bluffton's is quite interesting. Hilton Head's is very challenging, especially Rock Hill and Christchurch on that non-region schedule, and really non-division schedule, if you want to be honest. So seeing Rock Hill, that's going to be one heck of a challenge. But if Hilton Head plays really well against them, it could determine what we see in them during this coming season. But I will say this: predictions wise, I wouldn't be too. Don't go on my predictions just yet, but I will share what I see for the upcoming season with you. Um, I'm not going to base it off of the fact that Hilton Head destroyed Bluffton in that 7v7s over at the Citadel, not but a week and a half ago. But I will say this: that Hilton Head team did not lose a whole lot of players. And what the interesting thing is they gained a few players from the transfer portal this year. On top of the fact they have a lot of returning players, including their starting quarterback and their two starting running backs from this past season, and a couple of their receivers. A good chunk of their offensive line's returning. A lot of the defense is returning as well. This is a team whose core is still here after last season's team. And now it's a core that's got more veteran experience. This Hilton Head team, I wouldn't want to mess with. I think Hilton Head, in my opinion, looking at the 4A region, because I really don't know what Lucy Beckham's going to have to offer. Being that they weren't in our region last year, so I don't know what to expect out of them. But I think this year for me, and I could be wrong, and I might be wrong coming into week one of the football season, but I think that Hilton Head is the team to beat in the region this year. I think they are too dangerous for a lot of these teams. And the reason I say I think Hilton Head's the team to beat is because while Bluffton has Amari Patterson, they lost a lot. They lost Carnell Warren. You lost Aiden McCarthy. You lost a lot of important players on this team. Carnell Warren, Aiden McCarthy, Cordell Hawley, the starting running back for them. He's not there anymore. He was a senior last year. It was a senior heavy team. Lucas Gates, a lot of players. Wolf, he's not there anymore. They lost some players, and the question is, what has Bluffton had to, rebuild this team? Do they have what it needs to be competitive? I think they can be competitive, especially when you got Amari Patterson on your team. But you have a new quarterback in there who didn't really get a whole lot of playing time this past season. So you just don't know what to expect out of Bluffton. May River, I really don't know what to expect out of May River. It's a whole new coaching staff from May River this year. And they lost quite a few seniors, some important seniors from their team last season. We could be looking at a whole new offense and a new looking defense. So you don't know what to expect out of May River this year. Colleton County, I don't expect a whole lot out of Colleton County. They may be more competitive this season than they were last season, but they're still a very young team. So don't expect a whole lot out of Colleton County. Buford, that's one that's in question because I don't expect Buford to be, in the running for that top spot, but you never know. Injuries have played a factor for them over the last two seasons. If it doesn't play a factor for them this year, it'll be interesting to see what they have to offer. And then I have no idea what Lucy Beckham is going to look like because they weren't in our region last year. And while they had a good season at the 5A level, you just don't know what to expect and what they've lost, what they've gained in terms of players for this upcoming season. And Bishop England's no longer in our region. So it's an interesting, new, fresh, somewhat fresh looking region where you have a lot of questions on pretty much every team. But the one team I don't have a whole bunch of questions on right now is Hilton Head. And it's because what they have returning is a lot of the core from the team that went all the way to the lower state semifinals last year. And I can put it down right now. I like Hilton Head's chances of winning the region, and they're the team I have the most confidence in right now to win the 4A region. Now, everything's shaken up for the 3A region, and I still don't have schedules for all of them yet. Obviously, Battery Creek is now a 2A school. Hampton County is a 1A school now. Hardyville and Ridgeland are both in 1A as per usual, and I believe both of them will be playing Hampton County this year. So that's going to be very interesting to see. Um, who else? Whale Branch is still a 2A school. If I'm well, either they're a 2A school or they're a 1A school. Um, and of course, they have a new coaching staff headed up by former NFL player D. Delaney. So that's going to be very interesting to see. Um, any other public schools that I missed out on? No, I don't think so. In terms of public schools, it's going to be quite interesting to see what comes out of it this year, because there are a lot of teams that I have questions about, and I don't know what to expect out of. The two teams I have the most confidence in right now is Hilton Head and Hampton County. Um, I don't know what to expect from Hardyville this year. I don't know what to expect from Ridgeland. I think there are a lot of questions around pretty much every football team except for two for me that I don't have a huge amount of questions for, and that is Hampton County and Hilton Head. So it's going to be interesting to see come media day if both those teams show up along with the rest of the other teams show up, that I get a better idea of what to expect for the upcoming season. That's why I love the WHHI media day that they do every year. Um, Private school wise, they have shaken up a lot of stuff as well. Hilton Head Christians in a region now with some pretty interesting teams, and one of them is not JP2. Um, but I believe those two will be playing this season. If I got the football schedule, there's no football schedule. Maybe it's here. No, they are playing JP2. August 14th, first game against JP2. They got JP2, Pinewood Prep. Yeah, they don't have their full schedule either. JP2, they got Pinewood Prep. They're going to be playing Cross this year. Bethesda Academy, which I believe Bethesda is now in their region. First Baptist, and of course Hilton Head Prep, which, by the way, for the first time since I was in high school, that Hilton Head Prep game is a region game, and it does matter quite a bit. Do I have an idea of what the region is? No, it's only showing 3 teams, but there's more than 3 teams in this region. I believe it's First Baptist, Hilton Head Christian, Hilton Head Prep, Bethesda Academy, and maybe that's it. Maybe those are the 4 teams. Because JP2 is no longer in the region. They are now in a region with, because they're going to have quite the eventful season, being that they are a 4A school now. Yeah, they're in a region with Lawrence Manning and Northwood. But there's one other team in that region, I believe, as well. But I don't know who it is. It's 5 teams. So they have JP2, Lawrence Manning, Northwood, Pinewood Prep, and Porter Gallard. Wow, that is a tough region. Good luck, JP2. Wow. Yeah, no, I really don't understand. I know that Skiza bases it off of how many certain amount of kids are at the school, but if I'm JP2, I really don't like where I sit as a as a school, as a football program. Now the coach might say otherwise, and yeah, the region for Hilton Head Christian is Bethesda, First Baptist out of Charleston, Hilton Head Christian Academy, and Hilton Head Prep. And that actually puts Hilton Head Christian in a good spot with players like Pinewood Prep out of the way. Now Wilson Hall is still a 3A school, but I think Hilton Head Christian, from what I'm hearing, might have a team to make it to a state championship game once again. We shall see, barring injuries or players leaving for whatever reason. We shall see what happens. And of course, Hilton Head Christian Academy is under new management in terms of athletics with a new athletic director. Congratulations. to them finding a new athletic director. For those of you who know, Jason Grunkemeyer was supposed to be the new athletic director. He stepped down about a week and a half later, week and a half to 2 weeks after he was announced as the next AD, and he stepped down. And they've hired a new AD, and when I find his name, I'll let you know. But I think for me, Hilton Head Christian's a solid looking team. You go to JP2. JP2, I think they have good players, but I don't know if they're going to be able to compete with these 4A teams. Lawrence Manning's a strong team, and they knocked the butt out of JP2. Maybe I believe it was last season they kicked the butt off of JP2 on JP2's own field. Northwood Academy is the defending 4A state champions. I don't expect JP2 to be able to compete with that. And you got Porter Gauden there, who's been to a state championship game over the last few years. So that is a extremely tough region, and of course Pinewood Prep's a defending state champion as well at the 3A level. So like this is the region JP2's unfortunately ended up in due to the reclassification of SCISA. So I think for JP2 they're in a terrible spot. And what I hope for is they prove to everyone that they can compete at that level. And if they can, that's great. But if not, it's going to be a very long season for them. Buford Academy, Colleton Prep. I think all these teams got mixed up into different regions. See, what did Buford Academy's region now? Yeah, so Buford Academy is in a that's a very interesting region. Is that a region or that's the division? So Beaver Academy is in a region now with Dorchester Academy, Holly Hill Academy, and Thomas Hayward. So they basically stayed in the same division, just the region looks a little different with some new teams. Colleton Prep. They are, I believe, 2A. Yeah, they are. So they're in a region with Colleton Prep, Calhoun Academy, Cross, Patrick Henry, and St. John's Christian. It's a winnable region, although Calhoun is a very tough team to beat. They've been pretty good at football over the last couple seasons, although Hillnet Prep beat them last year in the playoffs. So give Prep some credit there. Calhoun's a very good team. Cross this is their first season back in 11-man football. They got stomped on in 8-man football last year. And if I'm remembering correctly, they didn't win a game last year in 8-man football. Why they're 11-man football, I don't know. I don't understand why. And of all things, of course, because they're playing 11-man football, they ended up in the 2A region, a region in the 2A division. It's going to be tough for Cross. Patrick Henry, I'm intrigued to see what Patrick Henry is going to be bringing this season. They weren't overly great last year. It's been a couple years since they went to a state championship game. It's been a couple years since they've been extremely competitive. St. John's Christian, I don't know what to expect out of St. John's Christian. I do expect Calhoun Academy to be pretty good. They're a pretty solid program. So those are those 1A teams that have been split up. Thomas Hayward and Buford Academy, they're going to stay in 1A. Meanwhile, Colleton Prep and Patrick Henry have now moved back to 2A. For the next at least 2 to 3 years. It just depends on how often SCISA does the reclassifications. Any other private school teams? Hold on. I'm trying to think. Covenant Christian, Hillnet Prep's in the same region as Hillnet Christian. JP2's 4A now. I got Colleton Prep, Thomas Hayward, Bethesda, Patrick Henry, Beaver Academy. Is there anyone I'm missing? that's playing football? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think that pretty much covers where everybody's going to be. But it's going to be interesting at the media day if all these teams show up to, get an idea of what the upcoming football season is going to look like for a lot of these teams. And when media day comes around and comes and goes, it'll give me and a lot of the other guys, including Justin Jarrett, Marcus Walsh, Kevin Libby, and Wes Kerr, all these guys, it's going to give us a better understanding of, um, where exactly these teams are going to be sitting and what they're going to look like as a program for the upcoming season. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk some World Cup and Major League Baseball. Will come up later in the show. We'll talk about some Atlanta Braves stuff and why exactly the Braves are struggling as of right now. We'll get to all of that when we come back. You're watching the Mad Max Lowco Recap. Welcome back to Mad Max Lowco Recap. Let's talk some World Cup stuff real quick. Obviously, the quarterfinals took place over the past week or so. France beating Morocco 2-0. Spain took down Belgium 2-1. Argentina beat Switzerland 3-1, and England took down Norway 2-1. And now the semifinals are set. France will play Spain on Tuesday. England will play Argentina on Wednesday. It's going to be interesting because the best part about this is the four best teams taking on each other. And when I say four best teams, I really do mean the four best teams, not just in the tournament, but they are the four best teams in the world. And I'm not joking with that. France is, according to the newest rankings, which, when did these come out? Must have come out a couple of, came out yesterday. The new rankings came out last night then. France is number 1, Argentina number 2, Spain number 3, and England number 4. And the funniest thing is, before this tournament started, those were the four best teams in the rankings to begin with. They've just kind of mixed around with each other. Obviously, Argentina came in as the number one team in the world, the defending World Cup champions. But what makes it interesting is it is the four best teams going up against each other. You have the number one team going up against the number three team, the number two team going up against the number four team. And it's going to be really interesting to see what comes out of these games, because these knockout rounds have been absolutely fantastic despite the ridiculous heat that these players have been playing with. Obviously, if you watched that game in Miami the other night between England and Norway, you would know that it was 98 degrees with humidity, which probably made it feel more like 108 in Miami, being that Miami is known for their humidity, and we're known for our humidity here as well, being that it's felt like 112 here for the last few days. But anyway, this is going to be really fun to watch. And the funniest thing is, all these teams are going to be playing each other. All four of them are going to be playing each other because remember, there's a third place match, and then the finals, obviously. So Tuesday, France and Spain will go at it in, I believe, Dallas. Yeah, Dallas at the Dallas Stadium. It's AT&T Stadium. And does it really just stupid? But they don't allow sponsorships during the World Cup, so they have to cover it. But it's AT&T Stadium. You didn't hear that from me. It may look like the same stadium. They call it Dallas Stadium, but it's the same. It's the same stadium. Don't worry. And the same thing will be taking place in the Atlanta Stadium, which is, of course, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but who really cares? England will play Argentina on Wednesday. I expect both of these games to be quite fun to watch, and it's going to be really fun to see who comes out on top. Now, I want to talk about these games, each one. France has been on tear. Spain has been kind of lurking underneath everyone. Like everyone's been talking about Spain, but it's really been France, Argentina, and everybody's been, a bit high on England as well. But the France and Argentina have been the two teams people were talking about the most, but not enough people talking about Spain in the equation. And the question is it because Spain doesn't have a chance against France? I don't think that's the case. I think this Spanish team is really good, and this is the best that Spain has played in the World Cup since really their last World Cup title, which was not too long ago, just over a decade ago, when Spain beat the Netherlands for a World Cup, and of course, that was played in South Africa in Johannesburg. But I look at these two matchups. Argentina, for me, I feel as if like their late game heroics throughout these knockout rounds have been really fun to watch, especially what I think was the match of the tournament was really Argentina and Cape Verde. I thought those two teams, it was so much fun to watch, and it was just a back and forth battle who was going to finish out on top. And I was really kind of hoping it would go to knockouts, and we see what comes of it. But Argentina gets the late advantage and wins the game. But they've skirted by Cape Verde, they skirt by Egypt to get to their game, and then they had late game heroics after Switzerland went down a man due to a red card, and Argentina scores late in the game, the 112th minute, to give them the lead, and then put the cherry on top with a late game goal, really an extra time, added time to the extra time that they already had, and really just sealed it right there for the 3-1 victory over the Swiss team. But I will say, hats off to Switzerland. That wasn't a team on my list of teams to make it to the quarterfinals. That Swiss team is better than they look, and hats off to them. Hats off to Cape Verde for having a really good season as well. I was really, really impressed by them during the tournament. But Argentina is skirt by, and they've had late game heroics, but they haven't played a team like England yet in these knockout rounds. They've really had some easier opponents, I guess would be a way to put it, that have really pushed Argentina. And maybe that's the challenging games that they needed to take on England. but I don't think I want to have Argentina giving late game heroics against England, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. We know that Argentina's good. They are very good. But their late game heroics, they've skirted by. And I don't know if they can have they need to get off to a better start to the game against England, if you're asking me, because if you go down enough to England, there is no coming back. This English team is a lot better than I think people realize. Jude Bellingham has been their absolute, superhero during the tournament. Harry Kane's been there, so that gives them a bit of worry if Harry Kane steps up, if Jude Bellingham can't. And so it's like the back and forth conversation of who's going to be the star of the game. Is it going to be Bellingham or is it going to be Harry Kane? I think this England team's built to beat Argentina. Um, do I think they beat Argentina? Oh, I don't know. I would like to see England beat Argentina. I don't know if I want to have a France Argentina rematch for the finals, if I'm being completely honest. Now, England France for the finals, that would be interesting, being that they are technically neighbors. But and I'm talking as if I think France is going to beat Spain. I think these games are too close to call. I would love, if I want to be honest, I would like to see England get through. And I do like that French team. I mean, I don't want to see them win, but they are very good, and I do quite like watching them play. Um, what I would like to see is a Spain England final, but I think realistically, in my opinion, I think we're looking at a France England final with the third place match being between Spain and Argentina. That's just what I think. People can argue with me. You can hit me up in the comments and let me know. Um, so I think it's going to be interesting to see how these two teams play. And remember, these are the four best teams in the world according to FIFA World Cup rankings before the tournament started. So this is going to be very fun to watch. And to the teams that didn't quite get to the semifinals, like Norway, Morocco had a great season, a great tournament. Norway, Switzerland, really impressive. Switzerland's first quarterfinals, I believe, since the 1960s, something like that. It's been a while, but it's also been a while for England getting a World Cup title, and I think it's time they're due for one. They're due for a World Cup title. We may never hear it. We may never hear enough of it from English fans saying, yes, we're the World Cup champions for the next 4 years, but they're due for one. It has been since 1966, if I'm remembering correctly, since the last time they won a World Cup. It's England. I think this is as good of a chance as they're going to get, with Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham really in their primes. I like England to win this tournament. I really do. I don't want to see Argentina win it. It'd be great to see back-to-back champions in Argentina. I just don't think they're going to get there. If they do make it to the finals, I think France beats them. If England makes it, I think it's a fight, a battle between those two teams, and I think everybody would like to see France and England go at it for a World Cup, being that they are next door neighbors, and the wars will never end for the next 4 years until someone just absolutely dominates the other. So I would like to see France beat Spain, get to the finals, and then England taking down Argentina. But I think realistically, we're looking at a France Argentina, or I think a France England. Now I like Spain, and they could shock me, but in my opinion, I see it being a France and I think an England matchup. Excuse me, hold on one second. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy over something in my backyard, so I'm not sure what's going on there. They'll be fine. Anyway, all right, we'll take a quick break. Obviously, the World Cup games, before I get to the break, World Cup games, Spain and France going at it in Dallas Tuesday afternoon. And then on Wednesday afternoon, it will be Argentina and England in Atlanta, and it should be two very great games to watch. And then obviously the finals will be, I believe. Oh, look. Boy, my dogs are going crazy out there. If you can hear it, my dogs are going absolutely insane right now. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Here we go. Wow, my dogs are, if y'all can hear that, my dogs are going crazy. All right, we're going to take a break right now, and let me figure out what my dogs are doing. And when we come back, I'll tell you those the dates and times for the third place match in the finals. You're watching the Mad Max Lowco Recap. Welcome back to the Mad Max Lowco Recap. All right, so I got those dates and times for the World Cup final and third place game. Third place game will be the July 18th at 5 o'clock in Miami Gardens. So the third place game will be there. And then obviously on the 19th at 3 o'clock, which weird time for a World Cup final game. Why couldn't they play it at night? It's going to be burning hot for the World Cup final. Play it at night. That's just stupid. So the third place game is a 5 o'clock game, and the World Cup finals at 3. Make it 7 o'clock. I mean, how hard can that possibly be? That's just stupid. Anyway, the final game will be, of course, at MetLife Stadium, which I think it should be in Atlanta, but hey, that's just me. That, and I think it should be a 7 o'clock game. That's just stupid. Why is it not a 7 o'clock game? Why does it have to be 3 o'clock? And by the way, from what I'm hearing, they have a halftime show for the World Cup final. Put it at 7 o'clock. Make everyone happy. Don't have people burning their eyes outside because it's so damn hot outside that you really don't want to sit there through a freaking halftime show. Just put it at 7 o'clock. How hard can that be? Just stupid. Third place game can be at 5 o'clock, which will be a little bit cooler in the day. But no, let's make it as hot and miserable as we possibly can by putting it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for the final. I mean, shoot, make it at 7. Make it a 7 o'clock game. That's just ridiculous. Stupid. Anyway, those are the finals, final times and dates for the World Cup. Now, let's move on to the All-Star game for Major League Baseball coming up this week. So let's see. All right, I got lineups for both teams. Obviously, the home run derby. I'll get the lineup for the home run derby so I can get an idea of what we'll be looking at for that. Obviously, the MLB drafts going on. It started yesterday. And yeah, so all right, American League starters. Well, I wonder who they're. Who's going to be there? Interesting. All right, I'll get to why it's interesting in a second. American League starters at catcher, obviously from the Athletics, Shea Langeliers. He's had a great season. Nick Kurtz is supposed to be the first baseman, but he's going to miss the All-Stars due to an injury, and he is the replacement for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who was supposed to be the starting first baseman, but he will not play in the game. It's interesting. We'll see who's the first baseman then. Ernie Clement from Toronto. He'll be the starting second baseman. Junior Caminero, who's been on an absolute tear, will be the starting third baseman. He's from Tampa Bay. Bobby Witt Jr., starting shortstop. Yeah, no surprise there. Outfielders, Mike Trout. He's had a pretty solid season. Riley Green's had a good season. Cody Bellinger, good season. Trout, Angels, of course. Riley Green from Detroit. And Bellinger from the Yankees. And then, of course, the starting DH is, of course, Yordan Alvarez from Houston. Reserves. Now, I'm going to have to check and see, but it may end up being Wilson Contreras as the starting first baseman, but I could be wrong. The two catchers are Dylan Dingler from Detroit and Adley Rutschman from Baltimore. Reserve infielders, Travis Bazzana from Cleveland. Marcus Walsh would like that one. Wilson Contreras from Boston. Kevin McGonigal from Detroit. Ben Rice from the Yankees, Miguel Vargas from the White Sox, Munetaka Murakami from the White Sox, who's had a really good year. And then the reserve outfielders are Randy Rosarena, who's currently playing for Seattle, and then Sedan Rafaela from Boston, Tristan Peters from the White Sox, and the reserve DH is Yandy Diaz from Tampa Bay. Now, starting pitchers on the list for the All-Star game: Dylan Cease from Toronto, Parker Messick from Cleveland, Nick Martinez from Tampa Bay, Drew Rasmussen from Tampa Bay, Joe Ryan, Minnesota, Cam Schlitter. I don't know how to say his last name. New York Yankees. Ranger Suarez from Boston, and Michael Wacha from Kansas City. Justin Verlander was named as the commissioner's legends pick. He will not be active for the game. I don't know if he's actually returned to Detroit yet. But he may be there for the game, but he won't be playing. Relief pitchers: Brian Baker from Tampa Bay, Aroldis Chapman, Boston, Jacob Latz, Texas, Rangers, Kate Smith, Cleveland, and then Lewis Varland, Toronto. Pretty solid amount of players. Now, players that won't be there, which this is very interesting, that won't be there. Obviously, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., he was the starting first baseman for the AL, but he will not be in the game. Aaron Judge and Byron Buxton were also elected as starting outfielders, but they will not play in the game as well. So that's interesting. Anyway, National League starters. Drake Baldwin at catcher from Atlanta. He's had a fantastic year. Hopefully the injuries will stay away for the rest of the season. Freddie Freeman, obvious choice for first base, Dodgers. Ozzie Albies gets to start at second base for Atlanta. He's had a pretty decent year. Max Muncy, Dodgers, third baseman. Shortstop, CJ Abrams, who's had a very solid year for Washington. Outfield will be Brandon Marsh from Philadelphia, Juan Soto from the New York Mets, Andy Pages from Los Angeles, and of course the starting DH will be Shohei Ohtani. But I forgot about this because it was announced just the other day he won't be in the game as he is dealing with, I believe it's a knee injury of some sort. so he will not play in the game next Tuesday. Reserves. The reserve catchers will be William Contreras from Milwaukee. So both the Contreras brothers again will be at the All-Star game this year, and Hunter Goodman from Colorado. Reserve infielders would be Luis Alvarez from San Francisco. Bryce Harper, Philadelphia. Otto Lopez from Miami. He's had a very good year. Matt Olson will be on that All-Star roster as well. Of course, Atlanta Brave. Sal Stewart from Cincinnati will also be a reserve infielder. Reserve outfielders, Corbin Carroll, Arizona. Pete Crow Armstrong from Chicago Cubs. It's shocking he's in the reserves, but he deserves an all-star bid. Jordan Walker, who's had a very good season from St. Louis. James Wood from Washington. And then the designated hitter reserves will be Kyle Schwarber and Ivan Herrera from St. Louis. Schwarber should be a starting DH, but he probably will be, being that Shohei Ohtani's sitting out for this game. So it might be Kyle Schwarber getting the start then. Starting pitchers, quite a few. Braxton Ashcraft from Pittsburgh, Chase Burns, Cincinnati, Jesus Luzardo, who's had a very good season for the Philadelphia Phillies, Max Meyer from Miami, Jacob Mizorowski, who's been fantastic from Milwaukee, Eduardo Rodriguez, Arizona, Chris Sale, Atlanta Braves. He's had a good season once again. Christopher Sanchez for the Philadelphia Phillies. He's had a good year. Paul Skeens, of course, Pittsburgh. Logan Webb from San Francisco, not Sacramento. That'd be the Athletics, actually. Yoshinobu Yamamoto from the Dodgers. Justin Robleski, from the Dodgers, of course, and Foster Griffin from Washington. Those are the starting pitchers on the roster. Relief pitchers will be Johan Duran, Raisel Iglesias, Mason Miller, and Riley O'Brien from St. Louis. And I really do think there should have been another pitcher on that list, but he's injured, and that is another Atlanta reliever, and Suarez from Atlanta. Anyway, that's enough of that. So those are the starting lineups for the upcoming All-Star game. And see if I can get home run derby lineup. All right, here's the 2026 home run derby field. Let's see here. Bryce Harper will be competing. Interesting. Kyle Schwarber. Yeah, I kind of expected that one. Jordan Walker from St. Louis Cardinals. Wilson Contreras is going to be in the home run derby this year. From the Boston Red Sox, Jack Caglione. Yeah, that's not a shocker. He can rake some. Ben Rice from the Yankees. He's had a good year. Junior Caminero, I might be my favorite. And Murakami from the White Sox. That is the lineup for the Derby. That should be very interesting. 2 Philadelphia Phillies in that lineup. Of course, it's taking place in Philadelphia, so why not? This is Kyle Schwarber's 3rd Derby appearance, and I forget that he hasn't won the Derby before. So Bryce Harper is the only player on this Derby field that has won a home run derby. So the rest of them are looking for their first ever home run derby title. Yeah, so it's going to be fun. And of course, there's new format to the home run derby this year. In round 1, each player has 20 swings each. If a player, whoa, this is interesting. I like this. If a player hits a homer on their final swing, they will keep swinging until they fail to hit a home run. I love that. That's fantastic. So 20 swings in round 1, 15 swings in round 2, and the final round as well will have 15 swings. There is no bonus round bracket. It's a bracket only in semifinals. And the top 4 players, top 4 hitters from round 1 will compete in round 2, and of course the final round as well, down to the last 2. So It's a different looking home run derby format, but I love the fact that if a player hits a home run on their final swing, they'll keep going until they fail to hit a home run. I think that's fantastic because if someone gets on a run on their final swing, it could change everything. So I'm loving the idea of the 20 swings only, no clock. You swing 20, you swing, get 20 swings. Uh, See how many home runs you can get in 20 swings. I love it. And then 15 swings in round two in the final round. So it's going to be fun to watch. And it's on Netflix. So I encourage everyone to watch it. It should be quite interesting. All right. Parting thoughts before I get going. I did see, of course, I think a lot of us saw that South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham passed away yesterday from a sudden brief illness. Apparently, according to a 911 call, it was calling for an elderly man who was supposedly having some sort of a cardiac arrest. As least that's what it sounded like. Lindsey Graham, who's been a senator for I think as long as I've been alive, passed away yesterday. And my condolences to Lindsey Graham and his family. He was a fantastic senator for the state of South Carolina for so many years. And, my condolences to his family for their surprising and devastating loss. Moving on, the Atlanta Braves. I'm getting worried, but being that we're hitting the halfway mark, they have a week to figure out what the hell to fix, what needs to be fixed. The Atlanta Braves have struggled for the past month and a half, and what was a 10.5 game lead is now down to less than 2 games. So this is getting to be crunch time for the Atlanta Braves, and they need to start figuring this out as they get into the second half of the season. When they come out of All-Star break, they need to figure out what they have to fix, what needs to be fixed, and they need to get it done as soon as possible. And if that means they got to go big in the trade deadline, I have no doubt in my mind Alex Anthopoulos will get something big in the trade deadline if he needs to do it. Anything else? Again, I said the WHHI Media Day at Hilton Head Cadillac dealership. It's the GMC Buick and Cadillac dealership out in Bluffton. Will be on July 28th from 10 to 3. A lot of the high school football teams will be there to answer questions with the coaches and the players and what they expect to see for the upcoming season. For those of you who want to cover all these sports and stuff, please feel free to call or shoot an email to Lowco Sports, and we'll help you get started for the upcoming football season. We encourage anyone who wants to take pictures and give us up-to-date details during football games during the season and, beyond the football season, including, the volleyball season, the basketball season this next winter, and so on and so forth. If you want to be a part of Lowco Sports, please feel free to shoot a text to Justin Jarrett or an email and let us know that, hey, you're interested, or go to lowcosports.com and you can find on lowcosports.com how to register and let us know that, hey, you want to be a part of Lowco Sports. All right, that I think is going to do it for me. I want to thank everyone for watching. I will see when our next show is going to be. It may not be for a little while. Hopefully we have a Lowco Sports Lowdown soon. Give us like our dog days, Lowco Sports Lowdown, because we really haven't had much going on, but we'll see what happens. But I want to thank everyone for watching, and I will see you whenever that next time is. I want to thank the sponsors that support us at Lowco Sports, including WHHI. And I want to thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. For all of us here at Lowco Sports, I'm Max Raj. Thank you so much for watching. You've been watching the Mad Max Lowco Recap. And until next time, go Lowco.